The downfall of MrBeast has begun because a new article came out called Las Vegas Staff Say MrBeast Should Be Blacklisted, Cite OSHA, Medic Set for Failure. It's a whole article about MrBeast's Beast Games, and it just goes through how big of a show it was. I mean, it features statements from production staff and also some medics that were on the set of Beast Games. So today we're going to go through this article and talk about how this could start the downfall of MrBeast.
Part 1. The poop situation. Yes, there was a poop situation at the Beast Games.
So first, we have a statement from a guy named Rick. Now, Rick is a Las Vegas production worker, and he personally was a contestant wrangler who coordinated the contestants during the production. Now, Rick said that it was obvious that the MrBeast team had never attempted anything on this scale. And I mean, it makes sense. MrBeast marketed this whole Beast Games as the largest reality TV show ever because it's MrBeast, and why not try to make the biggest reality TV show ever when you have never done something to that scale? I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Rick described the Beast Games production as beyond embarrassing and would not be surprised if MrBeast's team was blacklisted from the industry. And I mean, I would not doubt it at all, to be completely honest. I mean, saying that you're going to be making the biggest reality TV show ever and then it turns out to be this big dumpster fire. Yeah, I don't think any big companies like Amazon or anybody else would ever want to work with the Beast team. Rick also said it was by far the most unprofessional production that he has ever been a part of. And he thinks the reason it was so unprofessional was just because the communication was terrible. And then another person who worked as part of the production staff, a woman named Kara, said, "We had a guy come to us with his sleeping bag, and his sleeping bag was covered in excrement," which is, Now, how did get all over this guy's sleeping bag? Well, his sleeping bag was placed in the vicinity of a porta potty, and the porta potty had overflowed, and all of the waste that was in there got all over this dude's sleeping bag. Yeah, so pretty disgusting. According to Kara, a MrBeast producer ordered a different contestant wrangler to basically clean up the mess and then threatened the other worker with termination after that worker expressed reluctance. Yeah, so clean up this mess that we caused because we didn't plan for things like this, or you're fired. We didn't know people were gonna so much. Kara claims that the worker who had to clean up the poop was not provided equipment or training on handling human waste, and the worker was extremely upset after the fact. Which, first off, is a huge OSHA violation. And if you don't know, OSHA is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and on the guidelines for cleaning waste, it requires employers to provide protective equipment and training for the employee. Before cleanup, employers must perform a job hazard analysis and document the process to determine exposure risk and the level of protection needed to carry out the task safely. Employers must also ensure the employee knows the risks and how to access the protective equipment. And apparently, this contestant wrangler who was threatened to clean up the mess was only given gloves. It's actually so gross, and I genuinely feel terrible for that worker who had to clean all that shit up, literally. Hopefully they didn't like catch any diseases or anything like that. Also, a little add-on here, another production worker named Jack, and it wasn't me, I swear, said that higher level managerial positions like producers were all held by people in MrBeast's circle. Local production talent filled the majority of contestant wrangler and talent coordinator positions. So MrBeast didn't hire any, third-party management, basically. So I wonder if he did bring in people that, I don't know, maybe actually knew what they were doing. Maybe this wouldn't have been a massive shit show.
Part 2. The medics.
Before, we heard stories about contestants not receiving their medications or receiving them late, and also stories of people being hospitalized and things of that sort. Well, first off, contestants of the Beast Games were not allowed to bring any belongings into the stadium. All spare underwear and nearly all medications were collected and planned to be redistributed during filming. However, many contestants reported issues in accessing their medication during filming. Production medics on the set of Beast Games were tasked with handling medications, and a community ambulance team provided by Allegiant Stadium was set to respond to medical issues. A medic on set of Beast Games said that the Beast Games was something completely new. Mona, who was a medic on set of Beast Games, and other industry professionals said that it was unusual for a production to confiscate and attempt to monitor medication intake intake to this degree. Now, before filming all of this, all of the contestants were lodged at local Luxor and Rio hotels in Las Vegas, and Mona and other medics were stationed at these hotels to collect their medications. But it turns out that there were other contestants that were lodged at different hotels, and there was no staff at those hotels to collect medication. The contestants that were not at the Luxor or Rio hotel had told the pharmaceutical team that production staff had collected their belongings and promised to deliver them to the appropriate department, but Mona says that their stuff was supposed to be turned into the medical staff, and it never was. Mona said that it was very unlikely that the medical staff had lost the medications because they kept a meticulous inventory of the medication and other items brought directly to them. So there were some people, unfortunately, who had their medications lost because of just bad management and terrible coordination and communication. And again, maybe if third-party managers and producers were hired, maybe this would have gone more smoothly. I mean, it's just a thought. Now, there was also a 24/7 pharmacy station on the set of Beast Games that, you know, contestants who needed medication could go to the pharmacy at any point in time. But another medic named April said that she found out that the people in black, which I assume those were like the contestant wranglers or whatever they are, it was just like the staff that was always on set. But anyway, April found out that those people didn't know all of the rules and at points wouldn't let contestants come to the pharmacy. So again, just terrible communication and coordination from the producers. The staff wasn't filled in on the 24/7 pharmacy and literally denied people the access to the pharmacy. And that's bizarre and probably illegal. Maybe, I don't know. Mona also said there was no communication. Everything was on the fly. We didn't have a real understanding of what they expected or even if they knew what they were expecting. I don't think that was planned out at all because the information was not given. Another contestant wrangler named Hannah explained that in a normal production, workers receive a call sheet that informs them of the production schedule, the names and contacts of their coworkers, and other important information. However, Hannah said that no call sheets were provided and plans often changed. She also said it felt so unprofessional as she was not able to answer questions or direct the contestants she was meant to guide. She said, "I should have had more protocols to help me do my job." What little schedules were provided were often changed or delayed by hours due to the whims of MrBeast and his team. For example, just 2 days before the principal shooting, Kara said the producers decided to invert the schedule and film the games at night instead of the day. Now, according to Mona, the lack of schedule was intentional. During a production meeting, MrBeast producers informed the medics that Donaldson, MrBeast, does not believe in schedules. The producers with MrBeast said that he does it when he feels ready. Like, what, brother? Maybe you don't believe in schedules, MrBeast, but I bet the hundreds of people working for you do, especially when it comes to looking over 2,000 people. Schedules are very important. 3 contestants said that they were provided with regular but frugal meals. The first meal upon arriving at Allegiant Stadium consisted of a 4th cup of oatmeal, 1 to 2 cucumber slices, 2 baby carrots, a cherry tomato, a boiled egg, and 2 to 3 celery sticks. Mona, the medic, said that MrBeast was not feeding them or he wasn't feeding them enough. Now, in the medical facility at the MrBeast games, Mona said that many people would storm the medical facility because they had snacks there to give to people with their medication, and apparently people were so damn hungry that they would storm the facility. And that's honestly so insane. Like, genuinely disgusting. And I'm actually surprised that the contestants weren't given lunch leave for every meal, to be completely honest. I mean, that is literally some MrBeast shit there. Just all the hungry people devouring the lunch leave because they haven't eaten a proper meal in days, while MrBeast just stands there and records them. Available at Walmart. Doofus, man. Another quick food note. One of the contestants recalled an incident when a man asked production staff for food to eat with his medication. The worker yelled and threatened the man with elimination if he continued to pester her. Yeah, pester her, because he needs food with his medication. That's wow. Hannah, one of the contestant wranglers, claims that one contestant even had a seizure, and that they just left the man like laying on the floor. Hannah claims that medical attention wasn't brought to the man until nearly an hour later, and medical personnel also claimed that the medical stations had shifted locations a few times during the production, and apparently the staff members didn't know where it would be moved to, so there were just some instances where people needed medics, but the staff would would have to like wander around and try to look for the medics. Like crazy stuff. And apparently MrBeast didn't want medics on set or be like stationed inside of like the Beast Games set because he didn't want the atmosphere to be ruined. Like what a dweeb. That's right. I just used the word dweeb. Sue me, all right? Actually, don't sue me, please. I don't have the money for that. And all of this medic stuff got so bad that some medics apparently took matters into their own hands and literally borrowed the black costumes that like the on-set staff was wearing and went around and tried to help people or give people their medicine. So yeah, what I've gathered from all of this is that it really didn't seem like MrBeast cared too much for the safety and well-being of the contestants. I mean, everybody had to sign a contract saying that MrBeast wasn't liable, so I guess he was just really pushing that to the limits. I don't know. Bizarre.
Part 3. Unprepared.
Kara, one of the members of the production staff, said, "I've never done a production that was so unprepared. No systems in place for anything. Impossible to get an answer out of anyone." Staff members also shared stories of disorganization in supplying water to staff and contestants, transporting contestants to the venue, organizing the contestants, attempting to bring in outside food and beverage into the Luxor, picking up construction equipment without protection, arranging hospital visits, and there's just so much more. After 500 some contestants were eliminated in the first round, the contestant wranglers were tasked with returning collected underwear to their owners, and the only problem was that the contestant wranglers were not provided a list of whose belongings belonged to who. Kara said that it felt as if the MrBeast producers just assumed that the contestant wranglers would magically know who was eliminated in the challenge. And finally, after some hard begging, the contestant wranglers finally got a list of whose stuff belonged to who. And it's just crazy that that wasn't there from the start. I mean, that would make sense. So here's a list of people's names and their belongings, but I guess not. Kara also said that there were a lot of things that she was looking at and thinking, wow, there's a much easier way to do this. Also, apparently, someone who worked at Allegiant Stadium overheard management express disinterest in future collaborations with MrBeast because of the disrespect. Apparently, the Beast team was using spaces and props that they were told not to, and that they broke items and just left messes everywhere. And I think this is where the blacklist part comes into play. Allegiant Stadium is a huge stadium, and the owners definitely have connections to other stadium ownerships and production companies, so I would not be surprised if MrBeast could no longer use stadiums or do any large production events or competitions in the future. One advantage that MrBeast Games had, though, was apparently their budget. Some workers claimed that Beast Games literally had an open checkbook, and this became apparent when there wasn't a set schedule, and there was even one instance where apparently 1,200 some burritos were bought for the contestants, and then more than 2/3 of those burritos went to waste for some reason. Probably because in the middle of eating, MrBeast just decided it was time to do another challenge or something like that. I mean, people are in line waiting to get their burrito, and then MrBeast just pops out of nowhere and buries them alive. Also, apparently some contestants admitted to lying on their medical forms to enter the competition. There were also some stories of contestants stealing from each other. One story even says that medics had to replace a woman's medication because other contestants had taken her sleeping bag and her medication was inside of the sleeping bag. Also, apparently there was an 82-year-old woman that was a contestant, and apparently she got all banged up and scratched up because of how physical the other contestants were being. Production workers and contestants described challenges which included tug-of-war and sprinting for money cases as physical events that catered to young athletic men. Yeah, because I don't know how an 82-year-old woman would outperform a young man in a sprinting or tug-of-war competition.
Part 4. The MrBeast Downfall, or I guess this is the conclusion to this video.
Everything that was written in this article is just honestly so disturbing. Again, these are all just allegations and people's testimonies, but from what alleged staff members and medics and even contestants have said, this whole Beast Games is literally just the biggest show in TV history. It really shows a lot while reading about all of the unpreparedness, and then you mix it in the fact that MrBeast didn't hire any like third-party producers or management to make sure things went smoothly. Like, I actually think it's probably the craziest ego I have ever seen on a person. Like, hey, it's okay to ask for help. You can ask for help. But anyways, yeah, last video I talked about the lawsuit over Beast Games, and I think that just the start of it. I think there will be a lot more lawsuits incoming if even half of the things said in this article are true. And I'm also highly confident that MrBeast won't be allowed to do any big things like this ever again. I mean, he shouldn't have made it so big in the first place. Like, why do you need to have 2,000 people in a reality TV show? This could have gone so much more smoother, but it's MrBeast and he has to have the biggest and craziest reality TV show ever and set records or break record, whatever. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated if there is anything else that comes out or happens. So make sure you guys subscribe at those post noties on so you don't miss a video. But yeah, without further ado, I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.